Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Talladega Superspeedway. As here tonight, we get ready for the running of the 2025 Rolling Thunder Gaming All-Star Race Superspeedway style. Monday night, we had the Speedway style All-Star Race. Tonight, we do the high Superspeedway banked racetrack. Gonna have them double wide, three wide, all fighting for a non-points victory, which always seems to up the ante in terms of aggression as well. We still gotta set that field, though, for the All-Star race, as 5 more drivers will make their way in through the upcoming All-Star Open. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Michael Norman, Kyle Matthews, and guys, we've seen Thursday nights in the Talladega Challenge Series. We've seen these Aero 88 cars out there. We've seen these drivers out there. That's when points are on the line, playoff positions, a championship at the end of the season. You put them out here now where there's just some bragging rights on the line, nothing else to fight for. It should be very interesting to see if there's any differences between what we normally see on a Thursday night.
And I'm looking forward to the Oak, as you said, 5 drivers will advance, so the top 5 finishers. Usually a battle for 5th isn't a huge deal unless, we're in the playoffs or something and every point matters, but tonight, that battle for 5th position is going to be just as exciting, if not even more exciting, than for the actual win.
And I'm hoping also that it's going to be quite an interesting show tonight, as this will be the last time that this specific series is running this mod, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, Aero 88 car is going to be moving to Wednesday nights. The NXS 20 cars, the Xfinity mod, will be making its debut starting next Thursday, the start of the 65th season of the Talladega Challenge Series. As we mentioned, 5 drivers will qualify their way in this open race. We're waiting for all those open drivers to grid up. It was done random qualifying draw here for the Open. They actually will get to determine where they start in the All-Star race. They'll get to actually set qualifying laps, as Robert Breedlove looks like he's going to be on the front row, pole position in that 931. He'll have a former Talladega Challenge Series champion and Richard Martin to his outside. May see this face in the field on Thursday nights maybe for a full-time season, as Donnie Cameron makes his debut here tonight in the number 87. He's alongside of Jeff Supta, who almost pulled off the victory in the All-Star race on Monday night on the Speedway side. We'll see what he can do at the Superspeedway. Denny Carroll going to make up the 3rd row alongside of Glenn Harris. Doug Hewlick back in row 4 with Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
First one of the night. Ulysses Sandoval, bridesmaid made so many times in the previous season, season 64 of the Talladega Challenge Series. Needed that win to lock himself into the All-Star race. He'll try and get in through the Open here tonight. Ron Hagelin going to be in the, looks like that'd be around the 11th position, I believe. And then Rodney Sullins is going to be at the tail end of the field there. A multi-time Superspeedway winner, just not in the last 3 seasons. So he'll have to race in through the Open. And looks like Terry Bombard is just now coming out onto the racetrack as well. So that should be, I believe, a total of 12 drivers taking the green flag here, and I have just indeed gotten the confirmation that it is the top 5 finishers that will be advancing into the All-Star race.
12 drivers for 5 spots. This should be fun.
I completely agree. I can't wait for this to get going. A lot of cars in here. A lot of cars, just all you got to do. You don't even have to win. You just got to get in the top 5. And
What is the pit wear that they're going to be running in the Open? Do we know?
I do have the information on that. The pit wear is going to be 2X. So 29 laps. They will have to make at least 1 pit stop in this race.
Around lap, what? I think it's around lap 22 that we've seen them in the Tally Challenge be able to go to.
About 19 to 21. So right in the vicinity of about 10 laps to go. So if we get past lap 10 and we have a caution come out, they're good to go. Also, we should make note, a little bit different for these drivers as opposed to what they were used to on Thursday nights. All cautions in the Open and the All-Star race are race back, not frozen field. So if and when we see the caution fly, they got to keep that pedal down to the floor before they get around to the stripe. Otherwise, they're probably going to give up some valuable spots on an upcoming restart. So 29 circuits, top 5 transfer into the All-Star race, and Robert Breedlove will bring us down. The 2025 Superspeedway All-Star Open is green.
Looks like that outside line a lot more organized. The 87 car did not get off to a very good start, and the 931 is kind of
Yeah, I think
left all by himself there.
Think he was sleeping a little bit.
Might have been sleeping, might have started in second gear. Normally you're up in the first couple
Oh,
of rows as contact made. Supta got into Richard Martin. Glenn Harris goes around. Rodney Sullins, Doug Hewlick.
Some of these drivers not even going to make it past lap 1.
Wow. Caution waves for the first time on lap 1. Donnie Cameron was in that as well. He may have taken the biggest hit into the inside wall. We don't use the term bumper grab all that often. Normally, these Aero 88 cars, the shape of them, the hitbox of them, we haven't seen that come into play quite as much with front bumper to rear bumper, but that definitely looked like some bumper grab on the back straightaway.
And this is something I really did not expect to see with there being only 12 cars in this field, but here we are. Looks like half the field got caught up in that.
Richard Martin leads them back to the stripe. Nope, correction. Actually, it was... well, scoring is showing that Martin actually did win the battle back to the line. Breedlove second and Randy Waugh in the
Luigi.
third spot. Thank you, Kyle.
I said it. My mic was muted.
Did you, though?
Yes, because I can't hear you guys when my mic's left open like that. For some reason, it turns your guys' audio down. So in order for me to be able to hear you guys, I have to turn my microphone off.
Let's take a look and see what happened here. Off of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Watch here as it looks like... Oh, it almost looked like as
There was
Breedlove
contact
moved
between
up.
the leaders.
Yeah, I think Breedlove moved up. Demar moved to the right to give him room, and at the time he moved up, Supta got to his back bumper to give him a push, and the two of them just had a front bumper, rear bumper hook. Martin was able to keep going. I don't know if the wall maybe saved him, but he was able to win the race back to the start-finish line, right? Well, I don't even think he got the wall. And then Glenn Harris gets swept up. It's a pretty good shot there with the right rear.
I think 5 cars are caught up in that total.
Rodney Sullivan started in the last row, and he was caught up in that. Let's go on board with the Dale Sr. throwback, the Black Rifle coffee machine.
I don't think he got a lot of damage out of it, though.
No, I don't think so either.
Oh, he got it last second.
Like he just spun, didn't really hit anything. For
Yeah, Doug
38.
Hewlick spinning on by too. I don't think he made any contact really with anything. I was a little worried about that 87 of Donnie Cameron, but with those camera angles we had, I think everybody might be okay. I think everybody could still potentially be up to speed. And something else that we need to document as well that will be in play for both the Open and the All-Star race is they want the drivers to race hard, obviously, but they want them to race clean. And if you cause a avoidable incident during the course of either the Open or the All-Star race, your night is done. It's a one incident and park. Now, the case that we saw right there, just clear bumper grab. There's really nothing anybody can do about something like that. Saw Jeff Supta returning to the racetrack, so it looks like that's being put down as a racing deal, as it should. But, we had the Speedway race on Monday night. Things a little bit more spread out at Chicagoland. You're up each other's gearboxes side by side in the Superspeedway. There's not a whole heck of a lot of room for error, and you don't want to make that mistake and have your night come to an early end.
Not at all.
Should be getting the lights out this time by, I would assume. And we'll get back green flag racing. Looks like on lap 5. And this does not get us home as far as fuel is concerned. We had to have a caution past lap 10, so these drivers will still have to make at least one pit stop. The top 4 did not come to pit road. 5th on back did, so that could make things interesting if we end up running green to the end as to when that pit stop will be for some as opposed to others. But all 12 drivers that took the green will restart here, all on the lead lap, and hopefully all will be up to speed. Now, I'm not 100% certain how much time we're going to have between the All-Star Open and the All-Star Race. I do know that there is going to be a 10-minute practice session.
So then we have 10 minutes
for the All-Star drivers. Well, yeah, but also with the qualifying. Yeah, so that might be an extra.
Actually doing qualifying.
Yep, they are actually doing qualifying for the All-Star race.
They did that Monday night as well.
Correct. So, with that being said, we more than likely will be doing something a little bit different here this evening. Normally, we end up interviewing our top 3 finishers, but we may end up having enough time to fill in between the conclusion of the All-Star Open and the start of the All-Star race to talk with all 5 of our transferee drivers in between of the Open and the All-Star race. I guess we'll call it the All-Star break.
This isn't baseball.
Well, I mean...
It could be.
It could be, yeah. You take out 2 cars, that's a double play.
Well, true. Yeah.
You shoot up the middle by yourself, that's a line drive.
What would be considered a home run?
Winning the race?
You got to clear the fence.
Oh, well, I don't know if you want to do that.
Yeah, not exactly sure. Getting ready? And I'm actually surprised to see the 43 car in this field.
I know. There's a couple of drivers I'm surprised to see in this All-Star Open.
TV2. TV2.
All right, just for you.
Much more organized start that time for both lines. Richard Martin getting the jump, goes to the outside, opens the door for the 21 on the bottom.
Yeah, but the outside lane should get run coming off the corner. Fly by.
You know, it's funny, Kyle. We kind of remarked on a lot of the drivers we're used to seeing race on Thursday nights that took part in the All-Star Open on the Speedway side Monday evening. Flip side, you've got some drivers here that we're not necessarily used to seeing on Thursday nights participating. That 11 of Jeff Supta back there, he's more a Speedway racer. But trouble!
Oh, it's gonna be everybody.
Well, not everybody.
Like just Martin and Waugh looked like, and then the like Hewlett's the other one that went around
and
there.
Ulysses getting to another one by almost.
I was just about ready to
stop.
And I was just gonna say, you know, one of the drivers that was in the All-Star Open on Monday, and actually made it into the All-Star race through the Open is that car right there, the 21 of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
There you
Got
go.
in through that final transfer spot, as a matter of fact.
Yes, he did.
Holding off another driver that was involved in this incident, Doug Hulick. I mean, that battle for third place was fun to watch in the closing stages.
It's a lot of damage to the back of the 23 there. I'm not really sure what happened. We're about ready to find out.
Well, looks like we had a wreck and then maybe a follow-up. This was again a battle at the front for the race lead, and
would that be bumper grab again?
it might have been. Maybe Robert Breedlove bumper grabbing off of Denny Carroll. We'll get another shot of it here.
Looks like somebody got into the back of the 43, and that sent...
Watch the blue car, second on the outside line. I think he's gonna... Oh, nope, you had it right, Kyle. He bumper grabbed off the 43.
And then Ulysses is like, I'll just stop here, guys.
Love how you mentioned we never really use the term bumper grab when it comes to this mod, but we've had 2 wrecks already, and both are because of bumper grab.
So, you know, what's the mitigating factor in all that? And really, when you consider on Thursday nights, we run 66 laps, so it's a bit of an endurance race. 29 laps at Talladega, especially if you run under green, those laps fly by. It's almost a super speedway sprint in a way.
Well,
And
it
so
depends on
maybe
where you're
there's a little
running.
bit more of a sense of urgency out of these drivers, a lot more maybe trying to push and shove than just riding in line right now, trying to get those respective lanes going. And
You
that's what's
notice that
leading to those bumpers not being lined up quite correctly and
Oh boy,
the
that's
bumper
you
grab.
notice that both of the incidents so far with bumper grab have come from the 43.
yeah, that's.
Not necessarily
I
saying
mean,
it's his fault.
yeah,
But
it just kind of.
Is there a trick of putting STP oil on your rear bumper so that way they can't lock bumpers with you or something?
I don't know. I don't think so. At least I haven't discovered it yet.
Maybe that's why Richard Petty was so good in that car.
It could be. Was anybody able to ever bump draft him at a super speedway?
I don't know about that. I know him and David Pearson got together on the last lap of the 76 500. It didn't work out in Petty's favor.
That's true too. So second caution here of the All-Star Open.
Lap number 7. If my math is really bad, are we in that pit window?
Not
just
quite.
in case?
Not
Nope.
quite. I think the only way we could potentially be in that window is if we were to get a yellow at the point of no return, and maybe you could coast for a couple of laps around to the
And
checkered
even then,
flag.
that's pushing it.
Yeah, you'd have to have Grant Wesley's fuel tank.
No, you have to have Brian Schilling.
Both of them.
Honestly, pitting under each caution, you're not losing a lot of track position, so it just gives you more fuel, so it'll be less you have to take when you do actually have to come down pit road.
You know, it was funny.
You're funny?
Last night-
I don't think so.
When covering the Grind Cup series with my buddy Scott Rankin, he talked about, you know, drivers that are really good on saving their tires, that they're called the tire whisperers. I'd never heard that before, but I feel like now on Thursday nights we're going to have to, you know, maybe if we end up seeing somebody pull off a tremendous fuel strategy, they're the fuel whisperers.
You know, I've only been able to make tires squeal. I've never been able to make them whisper.
Yeah, same.
Whisper in the wind.
Lights out. We're going to get ready to go back green. Of course, we documented this on Monday night. RTG with a new EXE that allows them to be able to either elongate or shorten caution periods. And at a super speedway, takes about a lap or two of pacing away than we originally would have if we went just with the regular in-game yellows length. Gives us more opportunity for more green flag racing, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be a welcome change on Thursday nights as well for drivers. You know, there's been a lot of scenarios, guys, where we've been at the end of a race and we've called it the point of no return with about 4 or 5 laps to go. We may not be talking about that anymore. They could easily end up maybe getting everybody down pit road on the first lap of caution, get them doubled up, and go back green with 2 or 3 laps still remaining in the race.
The only thing that really could affect is any potential fuel saving that drivers are going to be doing under caution. Not going to have a whole lot of time to save fuel. But other than that, I think it's a great idea.
So
More green flag racing.
another
the
thing
better.
to adapt to along with the new mod, right?
It's possible. Robert Breedlove, our pole sitter, right side by side with the pace car. He might actually spin the pace car out when he comes down pit road.
This isn't NR 2002. Actually, no, in NR 2002, I don't think he would even spin out the pace car. The pace car would bring him down with him.
Yep.
That pace car on that sim was a brick.
Could be like, yeah, I was about to say, a lot of the older games, the pace car was like that. You couldn't do anything to the pace car. You're just hurting yourself in that matter. But
So we'll have 21 laps to go.
Notice we have an 11 Mountain Dew car. Is that an in-game or is that meant to be
Nope,
like that?
that is a custom.
Don't tell me we're going to have another Mountain Dew car potentially in the All-Star race.
could
Very
happen.
well could.
He's in position to right now, but still have a long way to go here, about 20 laps or so.
21
gets the
21
jump.
to go on the start. Which means starting next lap, the fuel window opens.
I'll tell you what, Michael. If Jeff makes the race, makes the All-Star race, I'll actually know who is who as far as between him and Grant tonight.
Will ya?
Yep. Because one of them is a guy that I play Fortnite with, and the other is Grant Wesley.
We talk about numbers always finding each other. You got the 11 and the 111 hooked up right there. And kind of like how we always see the 088 and the 88 hook up.
Wasn't there a point Monday night, Kyle? We had the 1, the 11, and the 111 all together?
Yes, ones were wild at that
Well, right
point.
now we have the 11 and the 111 together. That's still a lot of ones.
Jeremy Jeffries, he's already locked into the All-Star race, so if Supta and Hagelin are able to race in via the top 5, you could see the exact same scenario here, just a few days removed.
Jeremy Jeffries was the winner Monday night in the Speedway All-Star race. Made a daring 3-wide pass up the middle at one point in that race that took my breath away. Looks like everybody is still up to speed, which is good to see.
Not too many big hits.
And of course,
Yeah,
we're talking... Oh, go ahead.
Say the 23 of Hewlett. He was in that last wreck. He had, looked like he hit the wall with the back end pretty good there. Had a lot of damage, it looked like, but it's like it's all repaired, and he's up at the 3rd spot.
Watching the battle for 5th here. Randy Waugh
Luigi
currently has it. Ulysses Sandoval going to move
Borger.
into 6th.
Mr. Cheeseburger.
That's who I have my eye on in this race. We've seen Ulysses come so close so many times during this past season. And man, I'm just waiting for him to finally break out and win one of these things. Well, it's only a matter of time.
We better not talk about him. It'll be for all we know, it'll be the commentator's curse. He just blows up right now.
Well, single file right now.
He's got Ulysses, I think, has one more spot to go to be locked in.
You would be correct. Right now, just the first car on the outside, but I think we're single-filed out here because we realize we're going to have to make at least one more pit stop. We've had 2 early cautions, so...
I'd come in right now. I would come in right now, seriously.
Would you really?
Yeah. Get a friend or two to come with me. Just run around, come in now. I'm sure some cars might wreck, come into pit road, or coming off pit road. You never know what's going to happen.
So the only problem with that, though, would be if you pit now, from the drivers that came to pit road into the last caution, they'd be able to go, let's see, about 3-4 laps remaining. So you're only coming down for a splash then. If you come down pit road now, you're filling the tank up. So you're probably taking, if not 2 cans, a can and a half.
Yeah.
The time doesn't add out in terms of gaining anything if you pit now.
Remember the Upper Edge race at Talladega where a lot of us pit thinking we weren't going to make it, and then it was the worst mistake of our life?
I do remember that.
Yeah, good times.
Who made that call?
Who do you think made that call?
I want you to answer it.
Matthew Rodriguez.
We love you, Matt.
Wow. Throwing him under the bus. Wow.
I don't think Matt ever actually watches these races back.
You say that now, and the one time he tunes in.
Yeah, the one time he'll tune in and be like...
Can't wait for that DM in all caps. Michael, I heard you. Right now, that would be the transfer spot. The 21 has it. The 96 wants it.
43 of Richard Martin's really fallen back to the third to last year. He started on the front row.
Well, here's an interesting thing, Kyle. To that point, we've had 2 cautions, and under both yellows, Martin and Breedlove have not pit. Everybody else has come to pit road at least once under each one of our 2 yellows. So, in the case for Martin, I think he may be back here trying to save a little bit of fuel. I mean, if we run the entirety of what these drivers up ahead have in the tank, we're looking probably at Martin being able to save potentially 2 laps running at the tail end of this draft. That could make it at least where he could be within the window to pit with some of these other drivers when they come to pit lane. Stretch it just a little bit further. You got to think there's communication going on of, hey, what's your number? And then formulating a plan accordingly for both the 931, the drivers he's working with, same for the 43.
It doesn't really look like they're on the same strategy. Breedlove still out in front right now with Martin falling back. So I don't know if it was a miscommunication or just a coincidence of how things have played out so far. But Breedlove's not saving any fuel being out in front right now.
Sometimes you don't always want to be the leader.
I mean, for Robert Breedlove right now, I don't know exactly how many laps he would have been able to save under those 2 cautions. I'll be generous and say maybe a combination of 3 laps. So we're going to see him have to make the dive on pit road here somewhere in the next 5 to 6 laps. Question is, though, will he be coming down by his lonesome, or will he have some friends that'll be coming down with him? Because if he's all by himself, his out laps are not going to be good running single car laps.
Just got to keep an eye on it. A little bit of a breakaway. Look at the gap between second and third. I wonder if that could be by design. A couple cars backing their pace off a little bit.
That's
backing
quite
off
possible.
to generate a run maybe here. See Denny Carroll closing up there to Hewlick. Big run headed for turn 3. Let's see if they do anything with it. It looks like they're just going to maintain the gap a little bit there. About a car length, maybe a little more, from the back bumper of the 23 to the front bumper of the 41.
Not sure how many times a lot of the other cars have come down pit road. Compared to the 931 and the 43, but
according to my scoring, everybody besides the 2 that we've documented that have not pit have been on pit road at least twice. A few have been on pit road 3 times, and I believe Ulysses Sandoval has pit under every lap of caution to top off the fuel tank.
I say, because why not, right?
Yeah. It's a small field, 12 drivers. You have 2 or 3 drivers willing to work with you. You can work your way up to the front. Get that extra little bit of insurance in the tank.
what I'm curious about is how much, whenever they decide to come to pit road, how much is that going to break up this pack? I mean, we have 12 cars in this race. They're all still in the lead draft. From a commentator's perspective, just to give us something, to make it exciting, I hope all 12 are still in the lead pack after these pit stops. But we'll see what happens.
We're going to be at 10 to go. This next time by, we're around that window where Breedlove, who is led just about every lap in this race, with the exception of 4 that were led by Richard Martin in the early stages, he's used up a lot of fuel being out in clean air. He's going to have that hand out the window pretty soon and make the dive onto pit lane. Too, we also talk about the fact, a lot of these drivers, it's unusual to see them having to race their way in with the performances we see out of them on Thursday nights. A lot of these guys are regulars, so I don't know if there's as much auditioning going on, but you got to think that, the all-star drivers that are watching our broadcast here and everything, they might be looking at a driver in this top 5, or see a driver that maybe makes a move for a transfer spot late in this race and say, you know what, I might seek out that race car in the all-star race to work with. They're fast, they make good moves, we could probably go to the front together.
Looked like there was a little bit of contact there between the 8 and the 931. I thought there was going to be a crash there, but they were able to hang on to it.
Just a little bit now. If you were one of the ones that stayed out, you should have been coming down pit road this time by. At least I would have thought.
Well, it depends on how much Breedlove was able to save there under those 2 yellows. I think that Glenn Harris thought the 931 was pitting. He moved up to the top. Hewlick stayed to the bottom. Now a second lane is forming. This says to me that Breedlove might be coming to pit road this time. Everybody moving up to that outside line to swing around him when he pits. Well, maybe not. Sandoval just ducked from the top down to the bottom.
Oh. Breedlove got awfully close to either the 8 or the 41. I couldn't quite tell, but
Breedlove's still going to be able to continue here. Richard Martin as well. This is a little further than I expected. But again, the ability to be able to save fuel under the caution, allowing you to go a little bit further than the projected fuel window. And of course, the big question mark is too, I mean, on paper, nobody can make it the rest of the way without coming to pit road, but were there any drivers towards the tail end of this pack that were saving fuel a lot to maybe be able to get that 2 to 3 laps that they were projected lacking? This will be a telltale sign. If Breedlove has company coming down pit road with him, this says that more than likely nobody's going to be able to make it on fuel, as
here he comes. There's Helix coming. So is Martin. I think that's the Martin.
Oh, gonna make contact with the wall.
87 is the other car that came with him, so 4 cars on pit road this time.
Donnie Cameron. And that Labatt blue light machine. That gives the race lead now over to Glenn Harris, and if you're any of those 4 drivers, you are absolutely banking on the fact that these drivers can't make it, because you've just given up a transfer spot if you're the 931 or the 23. I did see the chat lighten up. I think we've got more coming to pit road this time. It may be the remainder of this pack. We'll see as they make their way out of turn 4.
Ulysses is pitting. So
Glenn staying out.
Harris,
Stallings,
Supta, and Hagelin all stayed out. Ooh, that bump on pit road there from Bombard to Sandoval. Is that going to shoot Ulysses over pit road speed?
I definitely hope not.
We have 5 cars pitting this time. 4 cars pitted the first time around.
And that leaves 3. 6 to go. That last time by at the stripe for leader Glenn Harris. It looks like this trio will be pitting this time by. So now it comes down to executing on your pit stop, making sure you didn't speed, and all leaving together. Harris
and everybody
in.
else.
Yep, all making their way in. Denny Carroll comes out of, this was the second group that hit pit lane. See where the first group's at. This would be some of the drivers from that first group. Right now, they would be 6th and 7th as things would currently cycle, and that's not counting where that 3-driver group would be. And Sandoval,
got
he
the
did
black
get
flag.
the black flag. Got bumped on pit road by Terry Bombard. That shot him over the pit road speed limit, and that is going to knock him out of transferring into the All-Star race.
I don't think a driver should be penalized if it's that kind of situation. If you get a bump from somebody from behind, how is that really your fault? I mean, you're slowing down. You're doing what you're supposed to do.
And that bump was pretty late on pit road, too. That wasn't even at the commitment line. That was a good 3 car lengths past it. As Denny Carroll looks like he will cycle out as the leader. Randy Waugh. Long dramatic pause in second. Rodney Sullins will be 3rd. Terry Bombard will be 4th. And this is the battle for the transfer spot. Nose to tail, Supta and Ron Hagelin.
So these 4 are feeling pretty good right now, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you're even going to see them race against each other.
Nope, they're pretty much locked in at this point.
Yeah, I think you're going to see them stay single file the remainder of this one, pulling away from that group of 2 of Supta and Ron Hagelin. They'll let them battle it out for the final transfer spot, but knowing that you're locked in, the last thing you want to do, we've already seen a couple of incidents here tonight due to bumper grab. You don't want to run the risk that you make a move, maybe get blocked, get bumper grabbed, you're sent spinning, and next thing you know, 5th and 6th go by, and you drop from a transfer spot to outside of the top 5.
All of that makes perfect sense, but these are racers after all. I mean,
Yep, open up the park. Can't wait to see it. See what it's going to be when the 5 move into the All-Star race. Interesting to see because the pack broken up here. This is just what green flag pit stops will do to you. And like you said, Jeff Supta in that last spot, the 11 and the 111 running together.
Oh, guys, this battle for 5th may actually not be happening. Ron Hagelin also issued a black flag for speeding. He's yet to serve it.
oh boy.
So that would put Supta all by himself when Hagelin pits.
And the 23, I was about to say the 23 and the 43, they're locked up right now.
Yeah.
So they could run him down.
This may not be over for the transfer spot. Hagelin, I think right now Hagelin is accepting a disqualification. He knows that if he pits, he's going to be out of the transfer spot anyway. I think he's trying as long as he can to push the 11 car far away from the 23 and the 43 to keep him in a transfer spot. And there you see,
wait a minute.
there's the DQ. We'll see if that strategy works.
I didn't know the game could just kick you out like
yes,
that.
Yes, it can.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've
you
never
get. I
seen
think
that
it's 3
before.
laps to serve the black flag before you get disqualified. So now we'll see if Hagelin gave Supta enough of a gap here with a little over a lap remaining.
Might have some drama here.
Oh boy. It'll be a 3-man dance for the transfer spot.
They're going to get there.
This is the battle up front. These 4 drivers are locked in right now, provided they remain single file. White flag is in the air, but we're going to go back to this because this is the battle for the transfer spot. Hewlett gets around Supta.
I was going to say, don't pull a Fox broadcast on us. Oh, he's gone.
Hewlett is flying right now, and not even the 43 can keep up with him. In fact, did something happen to Martin?
Is he out of fuel? I think he's out of fuel. He may not have taken.
Wow.
He might not have taken enough fuel to get to the end. Supta trying to draft up to the back bumper of Hewlett. Can he get a run here out of 4? Make things interesting for the final transfer spot. Up at the front, Denny Carroll's going to win this All-Star Open. He'll transfer with Randy Waugh, Rodney Sullins, and Terry Bombard. And the 5th and final spot will go to Doug Hewlett.
Doug Hewlett.
A lot of drama around that final transfer position. Hagelin disqualified. Martin out of fuel.
Terry Bombard may have ran out of fuel too.
I think he did. So Denny Carroll will pick up the win here in the All-Star Open. He'll be one of 4 transferees into the All-Star race.
He did that on Monday as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Finished 2nd in that All-Star Open, if I recall correctly. Back-to-back All-Star Open transfers for both him and Randy Waugh. Rodney Sullins, Terry Bombard, and Doug Hewlett.
Don't burn that down too much, Denny. Still got to use that engine later.
Not to mention he's torturing the poor flagman right there. All that smoke he has to breathe.
Oh, there he goes. Ulysses Sandoval, the wrecking ball, comes flying in. Here's a look at the finishing results. Top 5 transfer in. Supta just short of advancing into the All-Star race.
He was caught speeding on pit road.
Yep.
Oh,
got a bump from somebody and then sent him over the speed limit.
Robert Breedlove, Donnie Cameron. They'll finish out the race on the lead lap, but not in a transferable spot. We saw Richard Martin out of fuel on the back straightaway. Glenn Harris a lap down. I don't think he got a black flag, so I'm not sure how he lost that lap. Ron Hagelin got the disqualification
being
there.
Bumped on pit road probably sent him over. That I don't know how I feel about that.
Well,
but I guess rules are rules.
12th here. And so 7 drivers will fail to qualify via the All-Star Open. And provided we have all 22 eligible drivers that are locked into the All-Star race, we could have upwards of a 27-car field in the upcoming main event. That'll bring us into our FRN post-race wind-down here for the All-Star Open, and we're going to do it in numerical order here tonight. We'll go immediately down to our race winner and dial up the driver that transfers in, taking the checkered flag in this All-Star Open. Let's see if we can get a hold of Denny Carroll.
User was moved to your
Hey, Denny, it's
channel.
the guys up here in the FRM booth. Got a copy?
Howdy, howdy.
Well, we saw this All-Star Open come down really to a cycle of green flag pit stops. Your team was on it. You won the battle off pit road of that group you came down with. Had them all there in your rearview mirror. Now, we saw you and Randy Watt work together on Monday night. No surprise to see the two of you work together here as well. But is it any more nerve-wracking when it's a qualifying race and it comes down to making sure that you don't speed on pit road during a green flag pit stop cycle?
Yeah, that's more nervous than the main event to me.
Well,
I'm scared I'm going to do something, mess myself up.
Well, transferring into that All-Star race now, so you've got that goal, tick that box. Now you get to go racing for an All-Star race victory. You've already established a checkered flag here tonight. So I remember when we talked to you in that after the Speedway All-Star Open, you said, I'm not all that terribly confident going into this one since a lot of these other guys do the Speedway racing on Monday nights, but we see you every Thursday night here on the Tally Challenge. So locking yourself into this race, confidence level has to be a little bit higher, right?
Yeah, because there's not going to be 40 cars. It should. I'm going to try to do my best, but that's the first time I ever won anything at RTG, so that's exciting for me.
Well, congratulations on that as well. Maybe we'll be able to see you pull off the double here tonight with the Open and the All-Star Race victory. I know they've got the practice set up there for you guys to go out and do a little bit of testing and preparation for that All-Star Race, so we'll let you get to that. But first, we'll give you the opportunity here for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
I'd just like to thank God, my family, and you guys for putting this on, and RTG for even letting me race here. So just thanks, and I wish everybody luck in the All-Star. Good luck, fellas.
That's Denny Carroll, brings it home with the victory here in the All-Star Open, getting ready to go All-Star Racing here tonight at Talladega.
User was moved out of your
I
channel.
just want to apologize to everybody here real quickly if things seem a little bit broken during this post-race wind down. We did have a couple of things that are going on. We do have to transfer our overlays over, and we did have an R crash for a brief moment, so we are restarting the ticker, so you'll have that there live for the upcoming All-Star race. Let's see if we can now dial up the driver that brought it home in the second position, Randy Waugh.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Randy, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. Got a copy?
Hey, yeah, I do.
Well, hey, you're 2 for 2 this week in racing your way into All-Star races through the Open. You did it Monday night on the Speedway side. You do it here tonight on the Superspeedway side. We talked with Denny just moments ago about, what are the nerves when you know that a transfer spot into the All-Star race is ultimately going to come down to a green flag pit stop at a Superspeedway of all places. But you guys do this every Thursday night, so was there a nerves level, or were you thinking, oh yeah, this is right in my wheelhouse, this is exactly what I wanted to put myself into one of those top 5 positions?
Definitely nervous. I was on edge the whole time. But, yeah, it felt good after we got that pit stop in, and we were like 5 seconds ahead of 6th place. So that eased it up a little bit.
How much do you tap into, what you do on Thursday nights in the Tally Challenge for this All-Star race? Because, we end up talking about on the Speedway side, maybe having a little bit of an advantage in racing in the All-Star Open, knowing some of the tendencies of the track and everything, but with a lot of the drivers that you're going to be racing against that were already locked in, they're guys that you race with every weekly on Thursday evening. So maybe not as much of an advantage in terms of knowing the track tendencies, but anything from this Open, some of the drivers you were working with, some alliances that you maybe will make to try and make your way to the front here, have a shot at this race victory?
Yeah, there's a couple guys I think we can work together. As far as advantage over the Open, I don't know if there's any advantage because all those guys in there, they know what to do on this track. They're best of the best. And there's going to be partners out there all over the track. But I'm just hoping that 2 or 3 of us can work together and get back to the front.
Well, Randy, congratulations on transferring into this all-star race. Best of luck in the upcoming main event. You just completed 29 laps, gearing up for another 47 here tonight as you'll look to be able
Luigi.
to be able to run well there, maybe pick up a checkered flag here in tonight's Superspeedway All-Star Race. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Well, thank you guys, Kyle and Seth. Y'all do a great job up there, and I appreciate all the shout outs whenever you get a chance. My son Corey just loves it. I don't know if you know the story. He has cerebral palsy, and this is one of the things that he just loves doing is watching my races, and that's why I try to race a lot of TV races. But anytime his name gets called, he loves it. And when y'all call Luigi, he loves it.
Well, Randy,
So
Oh,
let
sorry.
me do a shout out real quick. Shout out to my son Christian and Corey and my grandsons Adrian, Asher, and Asa. And Corey, let's go get this open.
Absolutely. Well, Randy Watt transfers his
Luigi.
way in through the open race. Congratulations on making it into the All-Star race. Best of luck here in the upcoming main event, Randy.
Thanks, guys.
Let's see if we
User was
can
moved
now
out of
get a
your
hold of our
channel.
third place finisher here. Dial up Rodney Sullins.
User was moved to
Hey,
your
Rodney, it's the
channel.
guys up in the Flatout Racing Network booth. You got us?
Hey, I sure do. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Kind of unusual to see that 38 having to qualify its way in. But now you're locked into this all-star race. Opportunity to be able to pick up a checkered flag. Maybe some momentum for season 65. Did it seem unusual to you to be in the qualifying race?
Yes. I'm not sure. Maybe when I first started back racing a few years ago, I had to qualify my way in. But yeah, I haven't had to do that since then. So it's been about 4 or 5 years that I haven't had to do that. So it was very disappointing, but yes, very strange.
We ended up talking about the fact that, we ended up having, it looked like 3 different packs come down pit road on that final cycle of green flag pit stops. A little bit easier, I would assume, for traffic control when you have those smaller packs coming down pit lane. But in terms of, it looked like there was a pack of 5, and then your pack of 5, and then a pack of 3. What were some of the things that was the communication going on between the group that you were in terms of making sure that you were going to be that group that was out in front once everything cycled around? Because obviously a lot of organization has to go into that.
Yeah, we the first guys that went in, there wasn't, like I said, wasn't very many of them. So I'm like, or maybe what was there? You said 5 the first time. I knew we could probably go in with our 5, and at least be equal. And if we all did a pretty good job of getting in and out, that we would be ahead. So luckily it worked out that way. And I guess some guys maybe in each of the other packs. Well, I think Ulysses and ours actually got a black flag as well. So at least one driver in each pack at least looked like they had a black flag or had a slow pit stop or something. So it just worked out that 4 out of the 5 of our guys were able to come out together and then just hammer down.
So we documented the fact unusual to see you in a qualifying race of this kind, and reason for it, unfortunately, have not been to victory lane in the last couple of seasons. With this being a non-points event, we touched on this at the beginning of the broadcast. There's no points up for grabs. There's no playoff spot to lock in. There's no championship even hanging in the balance right now. Does it give you a little bit more freedom to go out there, be aggressive, maybe start to set the tone for the new season starting next Thursday night?
Absolutely. I want to see what we can do tonight. And of course, the one thing that is for tonight, other than being able to say you won the All-Star Super Sweet Speedway, is you're locked in for the following season.
Great point.
So that's a good thing because you never know what can happen during the season. I had some opportunities last season to win a couple of races, and I got wrecked twice. I think once coming out of turn 4, I had a chance to possibly take the checkered flag, and so it It can literally, you can race 65 and a half laps and it disappears. So doing this tonight, getting the checkered flag tonight, I'd love to do that just so this time next year or whatever season, after whatever season they run it, I'm in. So that's my goal tonight, is to try to not do this again.
Well, we wish you luck with that, Rodney, as you've locked yourself into the All-Star Race opportunity to take the checkered flag here tonight. We can hear the cars out there on the racetrack in practice for that upcoming main event, so we'll let you get to it. But first, give you the opportunity for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Well, I'll make it real quick. Thank you guys. Thank Owns and Prime at RTG and everything. All the admins, Jeremy and Josh, and everybody's been doing to get this new program going with the EXE and the website and just everything, getting the new season set up and going. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So thank all the admins and all the drivers at RTG, my sponsors, Black Rifle Coffee, my teammates, BSR, any other guys that I work with. Thank you. My dad who's watching, love you. But again, thank you guys, Seth, Kyle, and Michael. Look forward to going back and watching this. Thank you.
Rodney Sullins, third place, nets him a spot in the field tonight in the All-Star Race. Best of luck here this evening, Rodney. Maybe we'll get to talk to you again before the conclusion of the evening.
I hope so. Thank you, guys.
Let's see if we can get
User
our
was
next
moved out of your
transfer
channel.
driver. Brought it home in the 4th position. Let's get a hold of Terry Bombard.
User was moved to
Hey,
your
Terry, it's
channel.
the guys up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Last car on that lead pack of 4, comfortably in a transfer position, but had to execute on pit road, had to make sure the communication was good. You locked into this All-Star race now. Where do we go from here? Are we guns blazing to take this checkered flag now?
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but yeah, that's the plan. Let's go, baby.
Obviously, we know that a lot of the drivers taking part in this All-Star race got in through the Talladega Challenge Series. So do you treat this any differently than a Talladega Challenge race, or does this have a little bit more of an added incentive, and especially since it's a non-points event?
Nah, I have no incentive for it. I just, there's no points or nothing, so it's just a fun race for me. So I'm just out here gonna see what I can do and hope it all works out as good as it did in the Open.
One of the things we talked about at the beginning of this race, one of the main key points is the fact that obviously it's a non-points event, but you also have to make sure you don't make any really bad mistakes. It's a one incident and park type race. So with that being said, you put drivers out there, 20 plus drivers, door to door, wheel to wheel, double wide, 3 wide at a super speedway. How nerve-wracking has that got to be in terms of make sure that you don't make a mistake?
Yeah, that can be a problem sometimes, but you know, I just try to be clean and try not to do stupid things, but you know, things happen. But I've raced in a league before where we had only one in park all the time, so I'm kind of used to it. I was kind of used to it, so it doesn't really bother me, but it can get there. You know, when you're making a mistake and you're waiting for them to say, "Please call it a racing deal," you know.
Yep.
and they don't, and when they do say that, then you're happy. So you know, we'll see what we can do.
Well, best of luck to you, Terry. Congratulations on qualifying in. Before we let you go and get some laps here in practice in preparation for that All-Star race, floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
I think RTG, great job they do around here. You guys, as usual, you know, love the way you guys work. Appreciate you doing our Amish Survivor Series finale also again. And I thank my son for the paint jobs, as usual, Mitch Bombard. So I hope you guys have a good show.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Terry Bombard qualifies 4th in the All-Star Open, and he's getting ready to go All-Star Racing here tonight at Talladega. Best of luck, Terry.
Thank you much, bud.
User was
Let's get our
moved out
final
of your channel.
transferee from the All-Star Open, driver of the 23 car, Doug Hewlick.
User was moved
Good
to
luck
your
tonight,
channel.
buddy. Maybe an all-star win for your birthday.
Hey, Doug, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. Got a copy?
I do, gentlemen. How you guys doing tonight?
Oh, man, first off, thank you for the show you put on in the All-Star Open on Monday night. That was a heck of a battle to watch. Unfortunately, you were on the short end of that one tonight. You're on the right side of the cut line, getting that 5th and final transfer position. But a lot of stuff happened around you in those closing stages as well. The 111 gets disqualified, trying to build the gap between you and the 11. You lose your drafting partner. Richard runs out of fuel. So, I mean, it was definitely interesting to watch from our perspective, but it must have been absolutely nerve-wracking in the cockpit of the 23 car.
It definitely was, because I had no clue that one driver was going to get DQ'd. I know that they were running two and we were 2, and he was almost 3 seconds ahead of us. And I really, at that point, was like, well, I guess I'm going to watch some TV or watch the All-Star race. And I kind of like convinced myself that's it. Next thing I look up, I'm peeking, and I'm like, wait, there's only one car there. What happened? And then we ran Jeff down, and then Demar ran out of gas, and I just kept it going.
So maybe a little bit of a Talladega miracle. What do you think that does now for your chances here tonight to maybe pick up the victory in this All-Star race?
You know, I'm driving the Crayola color car, so it definitely, the crayons will stay between the lines, and hopefully I cross that start-finish line ahead of everybody else.
Well, Doug, congratulations on getting that final transfer spot. Taking part here tonight now in this upcoming All-Star race. Best of luck to you. Before we let you go, though, give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Always a thank you to Rodney for painting this great-looking Crayola color car. And shout out to my wife at home. My son's hanging out with me up in ND, up in North Dakota. And my daughter out in Oklahoma. Brothers and sisters everywhere. Ray running Afterburner. All the guys at RTG that do what they do, making this thing so special. We appreciate you.
That's Doug Kulik. He'll be piloting the number 23 tonight after being the final transferee via the Open into the All-Star race. Best of luck, Doug.
Thanks, guys. You guys have a good call.
User was moved out of your channel.
So those are your top 5 drivers from the All-Star Open, getting ready to join the drivers already locked into the All-Star race.
All-Star race.
We'll bring you back here to live action as practice continues here. Multiple drivers out there logging some laps, huh?
Should we take a quick commercial break?
Gather
our thoughts.
Do we have commercials?
We don't have commercials. Michael, why don't you read us a commercial?
Once Upon a Time, okay.
I've never heard a commercial start Once Upon a Time.
Pizza Hut, it's the best. Not really, but still.
I think you're required to say that, aren't you?
He is. He is.
I'm required by contract to say that at least once every hour.
Well, drivers are currently in qualifying, as we mentioned.
Which is different
good.
for this
It
race.
is. A lot of qualifying for the Open,
room.
but actual qualifying here for the All-Star cars. I can't remember the last season that it was where they actually were able to go out there and lay down qualifying last before they eventually then swapped over to Lotto Q. I think it's been at least 3, maybe 4 seasons in the Tally Challenge. So I don't know. Maybe a couple of these guys might be out of practice. Got about 5 drivers in my head that I would not be surprised to see at the top of the board for the pole position, but we'll see if that holds true or not. Appreciate everybody tuning into our coverage here tonight. See, we've got about 20 people watching this broadcast this evening. Feel free to say hello to us in the chat. We've had multiple people in the chat so far here tonight. Al Sullins, always with us on Thursday nights. Appreciate you chiming in there, Al. I believe we had Greg Palmer in there for a moment. Donnie Garrett as well. Sean Prime giving us the information that the 111 had the black flag, so appreciate Sean with that information as well. Feel free to say hello to us, and hey, let us know who your pick is for this All-Star race, because listen to the names that are on this list, Kyle, and these are drivers that we've seen even just in the last season alone go to victory lane multiple times. Joe DeSpirito, Jeremy Jeffries, Chuck McClure, Brian Schilling, Josh Metallic, Brian Rawson, Tim Nofsker, Mark Paglia. I mean, I'm naming off Tally Challenge champions, multiple-time Challenge champions as well. Grant Wesley, Donnie Garrett. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, you talk about a race where it's a who's who that could possibly win. With it being a non-points event, the bracket's blown wide open right now as to who the favorite's going to be.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's the who's who of this series that is competing in this all-star race. I mean, you name them, they're in this race, it seems like. So, yeah, take your pick. And good luck with that. You think Superspeedway racing is a lottery, beforehand.
Who's going to get the pole, guys? Is it going to be Seth Cole? I don't
No,
think so.
I have a feeling I know who it could be, but I'm not making a prediction. Well, do you want to make a prediction? Do you want to make a prediction? See if I'm correct.
I want you to make a spare, not a prediction.
Okay, Robert Breedlove.
Really? Think
He
so?
started Lotto Cube pole in the All-Star Open, but I've seen what he's able to do in Superspeedway qualifying. I think it's going to be close between him and Grant Wesley, but I'm going to go with the 931 if he sets a qualifying lap.
We should see it. Are we not allowed to go full the back screen to see it, or does that mess up the ticker?
That's only iRacing.
Oh, well, it shows us.
Oh, shows us the lap times?
Yeah, when they're live while they're qualifying.
Wow, we're breaking the fourth wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was not who I expected to be on the front.
Rodney, 51.937. It doesn't look like the 931's putting down a lap time. So
maybe they're not allowed to. Maybe the transferees are not allowed to.
No, Terry's put a lap down.
Randy
put a lap down.
Fastest.
Oh, that's fair. Maybe he just wants to come from behind.
Maybe. Start at the back.
I wonder if these are...
Still 6 drivers not listed on there, so...
Oh, yep. There we go.
Hey, Seth, you got 23rd. Good job.
Woo! That's more than I deserved. I probably would end up somewhere around here. 18th, 19th place, I would say, if I were actually out there qualifying.
Don't think you'd be able to break the 51s?
No.
You used to be good at qualifying.
Well, with our group, I've qualified against the RTG guys, and I'm lucky if I could break the top 15. I'll look at the lap and I'll be like, wow, that was a really good lap. And then I look at what number's beside and it's like, wow, that was a really crappy lap. So happy hour, 5 minutes here. Couple of things here for people that are wondering, how did these drivers lock themselves into the All-Star race outside of those 5 that got in through the Open? We go back to the start of season 62, which would have been after the 2024 All-Star race. If you have a Superspeedway victory, not only just on Thursday nights, because Barebone Racing Series on Monday nights, they run Superspeedways every now and then. The Lightning Truck Series runs Superspeedways on Wednesday nights, although they're being rebranded over to the Aero 88 cars for Season 65. If you have a Superspeedway win between Season 62 to Season 64, you're locked into this Superspeedway All-Star race. You're also locked in if you're a former All-Star race winner. Joe DeSpirito was the winner of this event in 2023. Greg Palmer, winner of this event in 2024. The 2 previous All-Star race winners get locked into the next All-Star race. You also get yourself locked in if you are a Tally Challenge champion. Chuck McClure, the Season 62 champion. Tim Nofsker, the Season 63 champion. Of course, Grant Wesley, the Season 64 champion. That's how they lock themselves in. You also can get locked in if you are the Speed Freaks champion. Brian Schilling was the winner of that back in Season 62. They ran Super Speedways in that series. And then also if you are the Bracket champion from Season 62 to Season 64. Jessica Shelton was the winner of Season 63. And Brian Schilling was the winner of Season 64. DeSpirito the winner of the earliest one, Season 62. So those are all the ways that these drivers are locked into this All-Star race for the Super Speedway side. And I believe I saw that we had, what did you say, Kyle, 26 drivers that are going to be taking the green flag here tonight? 25 or 26, I think. And drivers will now grid up. Rodney Sullins gets that pole position. He'll be alongside of Bob Seminara, Grant Wesley, Kelly Causey in row number 2, Randy Waugh, and Chuck
Luigi.
There it is, and Chuck McClure, row 3. Row 4 going to be Mark Paglia and Joe DeSpirito. Your top 10, Bob Dixon and Tim Nofsker. Brian Schilling, Denny Carroll, our winner from the All-Star Open back in row 6. Row 7, Jessica Shelton and Jeremy Jeffries. Row 8 going to be Donnie Garrett and Josh Metallic. Row 9, Doug Hewlick and Bobby Farrell. Your top 20 going to be completed with Greg Palmer and John Godfrey. 21st, Terry Bombard and Brian Rawson, 22nd. So it looks like 22 drivers going to be participating in this Superspeedway All-Star race here tonight. 47 laps. Please, guys, do not ask me what the fuel number is because I don't know. It's not 2x here for this All-Star race. It is 3x, so they will not be able to go the usual 19 to 21 laps in this All-Star race. If I had to wager a guess, I'm thinking 15 to 17 laps now with 3x, but it may be shorter than that.
Multiple pit stops in this race. I haven't said multiple green flag pit stops. It could be multiple green flag pit stops, but
Your multiple green flag pit stops.
oh, I hope not. I was never good at green flag pit stops, so
We need to teach Kyle how to hot pit.
I don't need to teach him that. I don't know how to do it.
I need to learn pit road entry the regular way first before we get to that.
Go fast, turn left. It's that simple. Just not too fast.
Even Cletus McFarland can do it.
Yeah. And then get fined by NASCAR in both races he takes part in.
Did he really?
Yep.
I don't know that story. What happened to that one?
I don't remember what the fine was for Daytona, but he got a safety violation, a $5,000 fine for the Talladega race. I think, if I remember correctly, I think it was something to do with where he didn't have his Hans device on.
Oh yeah, when he first went out on pit road, when he first went out onto the racetrack, he
Greg
didn't realize
Biffle
he
had
didn't
to put
have
his
his
Hans device on him.
Well, you know, it happens.
All right, here we go. The moment we've been waiting for here tonight. We had the All-Star Open, and now it is time to run for the 2025 RTG Superspeedway All-Star Race. 22 drivers, only one can win it. Rodney Sullins and Bob Seminara will bring us down through the tri-oval. Flagman has the green flag in hand, and we're all-star racing at Dega.
Draga.
Rodney Sullins got a good push there from Grant Wesley to take the lead heading into turn 1. That outside line didn't get going all that well with Bob Seminara and Kelly Causey leading the group.
Third line forming already. That's Chuck McClure around the 5th position to the outside of Kelly Causey. He's going to get some help from Joe DeSpirito.
Be interesting to see if the bumper grab's going to come back into play in this race.
Yeah.
Remember, this is the final time, officially, the final time we will be running this mod for this series.
Seminara crosses low to the inside of Grant for second place. 3 wide, about 2 rows deep behind them. That's Schilling in the middle.
All right, gentlemen. I don't think, unless I just wasn't paying attention, I don't think we made some predictions here. Let's make some predictions. Who you got?
Are we really gonna commentate curse somebody
Yes,
in
we
an all-star
are.
race?
Yes, we are. Oh,
I said earlier it's wild card. It could be anybody. I don't think there's even a possibility of a prediction in this
my
race.
money is going to be on Grant Wesley.
Well, I mean, this is an all-star race. There's no points on the line. Nobody really has anything to lose. Somebody that kind of had that, had that situation throughout the playoffs this past season did quite well. Won a couple of races. The 24 of Joe DeSpirito.
Great call.
Oh, all right, Seth, you have to pick one now.
I have to pick one?
Yep.
Okay, well, since there's the possibility we're going to have green flag pit stops, Michael already took the Grant Wesley pick. You know what? He sounded awfully motivated when we talked to him post-race after that All-Star Open. I'm going to go with the guy that's out in front, Rodney Sullins. I feel like this is a big opportunity for drivers that didn't have the season 64 that they were looking for. this is a springboard opportunity. You get a win here, you've got some good momentum, getting prepared for the upcoming new season. Granted, it's going to be, as we've documented, it's going to be an entirely new mod, but it can give you a little bit of an extra, little extra pep in your step, if you will, when that green flag drops. A little bit more confidence. And of course, as well, as Rodney said, you win this race, you're locked into the next 2 years All-Star races, so...
Everybody that's watching us in the chat, put down your picks if you have any picks to win this race. I'm curious to see what you guys think.
Al says he's going all in on the 38. Jeff said to bet the paycheck on me. That's a bad idea, Jeff. I don't remember what my best finish was in an RTG Superspeedway race. I want to say 7th. Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
One of our transfer drivers.
Yes, but can you get the inside lane working, though? That's the question.
He's got some help from Chuck McClure in the 17, the 4 of Brian Schilling. See if they can work together to get up there.
I believe that all 4 of our final 4 that competed for the championship last season are in this race. Metallic in the 39, Donnie Garrett in the 77. The eventual, actually no, correction. One of the drivers is not. But we also then have obviously our eventual champion, defending champion going into season 65, Grant Wesley. So far, we've stayed green. And again,
Don't jinx it like that.
Well, I was just going to say, though, again, I don't know what exactly the fuel window is for the drivers on 3X. So it will be interesting to see just how long we continue to run double file.
If I had to guess, I'm going to say 15 laps.
That's what I was kind of thinking. That's what I said, 15 to 17. So we're looking at least at a 2-stop race. Maybe a 3-stopper, depending on just how far you actually can go. And I think these drivers realize it too. I mean, we're seeing, some pretty good pushes here on the inside line, but we're not seeing aggressive moves really here anywhere through the field. They've kind of single filed out their own little lines there.
Bob Seminara to the inside, help from Jessica Shelton and Joe DeSpirito, Donnie Garrett and others on that bottom.
Ooh, Donnie on the apron, Randy Waugh on the apron.
Luigi.
They all save it, but look at him scatter behind.
Great save by the 21 and a few others that were right behind him there. That could have been big.
77 as well. Good job getting it back up on the racing surface. Now they'll reorganize and try and close back in here on this group of 8. Seminara is going to get alongside of Rodney Sullins. These two started on the front row. Rodney on the pole, Bob on the outside of the front row. And he'll move by Rodney Sullins. Look to be the second leader in this all-star race. I've just been given the information courtesy of Ron Hagelin. Thank you, Ron. 12 laps is the number for these drivers on 3X.
Oh, we were off.
Yeah, we were. So that's only 3 laps away.
Man, that is...
So if you're doing 12 laps, let's say that's 12, 24...
Let's just say you better know every one of your
36.
pit crew members' first names by the end of this race.
We're talking about 3 pit stops here, and that's barely making it to 47 because you got, if we don't have any cautions.
I don't even know with 3 times fuel consumption Now, we talk about with 2X the possibility of maybe saving an extra lap of fuel during a green flag run. With it being 3X, I don't even know if that's a possibility here for these drivers to go to a lap 16 or a lap 17. Or, I'm sorry, a 13 or a 14. Oh,
Oh,
we don't have to
trouble.
worry about it.
Chuck McClure was around of Terry Bombard.
Brian Rawson in the 6.
That should bring out the caution right there.
Did indeed.
Yep, there's the pace car racing back to the line, same as the All-Star Open.
Rodney Sullins with a good shove in that middle line, gonna clear back Seminara. Should lead us back to the start-finish line, near contact for second between Wesley and Bob. And Rodney will indeed lead us back here to our first yellow of the All-Star race.
Wesley and Bob. So you're talking about Bob Wesley?
No. I could have said Grant and Biscuit, but then you wouldn't have known what I meant.
Biscuit Grant.
I was going to say that caution's a welcome sight for everybody not having to make green flag pit stops, but maybe not. I think so. I think there were quite a few drivers out there that was looking forward to making green flag stops.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll take a look here at what brought out the yellow. We're also going to change the overlays that I said I was going to change during the break.
And you totally didn't, did you?
I totally forgot.
Great job, Seth.
Thanks, man. I tried real
Well, that's
hard.
why my screen went black. Okay, that
Yep.
scared me for a second, thinking.
All right. Now we look at the incident. Find the 17 of Chuck McClure. He shot up the racetrack, so I'm wondering if somebody... Oh, nope, I was wondering if somebody got hit from the top. Looks like Rawson just was too close to that back bumper going into the entry of the corner, got him in the right rear, spun Chuck around.
Did the 17 lift a little bit there?
He might have. Might have been some checkup on the bottom line, too. Let's see, because he's pretty close to the back bumper of the 41. Yeah, hard to tell. Boy, Brian Schilling was right behind that. Was able to squeak down to the inside and get through unscathed. Terry Bombard was behind the incident. I don't know if he necessarily got initial contact. May have gotten spun around in the aftermath. Oh, Greg Palmer with a piece as well into the driver's side door.
It's like the 10 lifted for the crash right in front of him, and then the 143 got into him because of that.
That being Bob Dixon. Well, shocker, guys. Everybody came down pit road. Nobody decided to stay out.
Takes the drama out of that.
Just around when these drivers would have had to make that first green flag pit stop, so it doesn't change much in terms of it still being a two-stop race to the finish. Rodney Sullen's team gets it done on pit road, gets him out with the race lead. Grant Wesley came out in second. Looks like Kelly Causey, Joe DeSpirito, Bob Seminara may have been the top 5. Nope, scoring did not update for me, so actually Seminara is in third place. Moderate damage. I didn't see necessarily anything in that wreck that says drivers are done for the night. We've gotten pretty lucky with our cautions this evening, going back as well to the All-Star Open. Everybody, for the most part, has been able to be up to speed. It's just pit road has really been the mitigating factor back in that All-Star Open, and could very well be here in this All-Star race as well.
Let's see if the lights go out on top of the pace car this time by. Already doubled up for the restart. And
Gonna
there
be
they go.
interesting to see. Yep. You know these drivers are ready to go back racing when they just double up before we even get the one to go.
Oh, yeah. Of course, the expedited cautions now available to the admins. Gives the opportunity for more green
Really?
flag laps.
Does that mean our point of no return's longer going to be at
Our
62?
point, yeah, that's the thing, right? Our point of no return has changed.
Now it would have to be 64, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would think so.
Did they get the correct? Is that an EXE they got right?
Yep. They've been testing it out. They tested it out Monday night during the Speedway All-Star race, testing it out here tonight. And it will be utilized on Thursday nights going forward for the Talladega Challenge Series
Talk to
as
Keith. Did
well.
they get Keith's EXE?
I don't know.
I swear it's amazing. This game has been around for over 20 years. I think 22 years to be exact. And just all the things that have been added during that time is just remarkable for a game that old.
And are still alive and well, that is for sure. Continually modded, adapted, revamped. I don't know what other terms you want to use. Covers all eras of racing. We've got the Aero 88 cars here tonight. We had the next gen cars on Monday night. You'll see those next gen cars every Monday night here, as FRN going to be covering the 65th season of the Bare Bones Racing Series. And we're getting ready to continue on this all-star race here tonight, the swan song for the Aero 88 cars in Superspeedway Racing.
That's what's up.
Rodney Sullins has led 11 laps so far here tonight. He's led all but one. Seminara has led the lap that Rodney has not. And I don't think Rodney's going to lead that lap. I think Grant may have actually gotten to the line ahead of him. Got a great launch in that outside lane.
Got a good push there from Kelly Causey in the 00. But now Wesley's starting to fall back to him. Sullins moves up in front of Wesley. That's opened the door for Seminara on the bottom. He has help from Joe DeSpirito.
Big pushes down the back straightaway. Saw the 712 get a little squirrely from the first bump. Jeremy Jeffries, Donnie Garrett also lined up on the bottom. Third line trying to form further back. That's Jessica Schulten up there. Terry Bombard. More drivers in that middle line. If they see that lane moving forward, they may jump up there as well. There always seems to be a point of the race where drivers feel it's go time. Obviously, with 3 times wear and fuel more of a concern, it may push that point of the race a little bit further back towards the conclusion. But usually when we get about halfway in a race is usually when drivers start to turn up the wick just the least little bit. We went back green on the completion of lap 12 onto 13, so if we're looking at possible green flag pit stops now, we'd be somewhere in the vicinity of lap 25.
Now let's try to do the math on that one as to when the next pit stop will be.
One driver that did get a piece of that incident, and it didn't look like much, but it looks like he's losing the draft, is Greg Palmer. He had the back end of Terry Bombard into the driver's side door of his machine, and that Pepsi Challenger number 22 is dropping back. There's Greg. And he may be coming to pit road here. Yeah, he is. I wonder if... It didn't look like he had race-ending damage out of that. I wonder if maybe he lost a gear? 3 wide now, 3 rows deep. Oh no! Mark Paglia bumper grabbed off of Josh Metallic. Catches air. At least a half dozen drivers, maybe more, scatter on the back straightaway.
Jessica was involved in that as well.
John Godfrey. Denny
It's like about
Carroll,
half a
our
dozen
All-Star
cars.
Open winner.
It's like about half a dozen cars was caught up in that.
Paglia was up and over the roof of that car. I think may have hit the catch fence. Doug Hulick may have gotten a piece. Last transferee into the All-Star race through the Open. Caution out for the second time here in this All-Star race. It will push the fuel window back a little bit now. We'll talk about that in a minute. No doubt everybody's going to come back down pit road, top off the fuel tank. But just when I say that we were getting pretty lucky with cautions during the course of this evening, maybe the biggest wreck of the night, certainly the most violent wreck, and
Paglia already off the track.
And Kyle, put the flip counter away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Paglia already behind the wall.
But they were making up good ground in that third lane. And I don't know if it was the bump from Nosker to Paglia that offset him to Metallic.
Helicopter cam, that'll tell us.
Yeah. Donnie Garrett. I think he got a piece of it as well. Here's that chopper cam as they make their way out of 2. 088 with a big push to the 28, and they're just chain bumping, and the bumpers are not lined up between Metallic and Paglia. Bob Dixon got a piece, Brian Rawson, Bobby Farrell was in it. Not sure the roof cam would have survived. Let's go inside the cockpit of the 28 and just listen, see if we can hear the bumps from Nofsker behind him. Mark Paglia out of the race after this one. We saw Greg Palmer come down pit road moments ago. He's retired out of the race as well. So that leaves us with 20 of our original 22 still in the running for this thing. And, well, you don't get bonus points for a lap led, but Doug Hulick is actually going to elect to stay out. So this may actually be a strategy call on his part, too. He may plan on staying out, maybe hope for a caution to come out before he would have to come to pit lane. He does have a little bit of back-end damage there. We'll see if he comes down pit road this time by or not. Yep, he's coming down, so he'll drop to the tail end of the field. Might have wanted that one extra lap of fuel. You see Brian Schilling peeling off, Chuck McClure as well. One lap could be a big difference, as we'll probably go back green completion of lap 20, which would put us to lap 32 for the next pit stop, and would put us, I believe, 2 laps shy of making it the rest of the way to the finish. So we're still looking, at least right now, at a 2-stop race.
Or they're joking around down there about the damage to the 23 car, damaging the crayons. He's having a hard time keeping it between the lines, apparently.
I love how when we talked to him with that Crayola car one point, he made that pun, and I said, I want to use that. And we've talked to him twice since. He's made the pun, and I've yet to make the pun in a broadcast.
Wow.
It's too good a pun. I don't know
Yeah,
why I don't remember it.
It's right there. It's like you don't think of it for whatever reason.
Ulick's going to catch up to the field here with the lights out on the Wiley Coat Tribute Pace Car. We'll have to see if we can have a Tribute Pace Car for the Xfinity mod on Thursday nights as well. As Rodney Sullins will have Grant Wesley behind him on the inside line. Bob Seminaro will be lined up with Joe DeSpirito on the top. Kelly Causey, Jeremy Jeffries in row 3, Metallic Nofsker row 4, and then Randy Waugh and Terry Bombard, the completion of the top 10.
I said Luigi, but my mic was muted again.
The only one that could be a witness to that would be Sadie.
She's not even in my room.
Okay, so no witnesses. Sadie's his dog, for context, for everybody wondering. About 3.5 laps away from halfway in this all-star race. Second restart of the night. And Ronnie Sullins ready to get us back under the green. That car has been out in front almost the entirety of this all-star race so far.
Well, that outside line kind of stacked up as they were coming to the line right there.
Grant might be clear for second. Rodney will move up to the middle line. Grant will stay committed to the yellow line. He'll look for a push from Kelly Causey to get him to the race lead for the first time here tonight. Grant has led a lap, but that was back on the last restart when he was able to just edge Rodney Sullins at the stripe coming to the green. He is yet to get clear for the race lead here tonight, trying to do so on that inside line with help from Causey and Josh Metallic.
It's only been one car that's been able to get by the Sullins so far tonight. That's the car right behind him, Bob Seminara. Able to got by and led, I think, just one lap, but it's really been all Sullins so far for the most part.
Middle line gets the advantage out of the back straightaway through 3 and 4. Sullins clear on both lanes.
Middle lane always seems to get the upper hand at first until the bottom lane can form up tightly.
See if a third lane starts to form at some point here.
We'll see
Jeremy
if the
Jeffries
fourth
in
lane.
that fourth position outside line. He might maybe make a move, the Goldfish machine.
I feel like these cars can go 4 wide and hold it.
They've done it on occasion.
Just use the apron. It's okay.
He'll be fine.
What can go
If this
wrong?
was an offline race, I wouldn't say that, but
We all know these cars and how these guys want to bump and push, but you got to watch out. Like we said, I think we've had two instances now where with the bumper grab that happened in this race, just like it did in the Open.
It is going to be a lot of fun starting next Thursday night to see if there is a period of adaptation with the Xfinity cars. You know, when I think of Xfinity cars and I think of maybe the most draftable Xfinity cars, I think of the DMR NXS 16. They're a little bit more boxish in their shape and their hitbox. The NXS 20 cars, they have a box that's shaped to them, but they're a little smaller, so the hitbox does actually spread out a little bit further than the visible body of the race car. Maybe a little similar to these Aero 88 cars. So while there will be, I think, a little bit of a period of adaptation of how hard can I push, where can I push. Transferring from an older version of a car to a newer version of a car where the hitboxes are pretty similar, that might make the transition a little bit easier.
It is possible. And maybe probable.
It's Jeremy Jeffries challenging for the lead, trying to go 2 for 2 in All-Star races this week. One Monday night in the Speedway All-Star race. Has help from Grant Wesley right behind him, the champion of the Tally Challenge this past season.
Driver with the most Superspeedway wins between seasons 62 to 64. Coming into this All-Star race, 8 Superspeedway victories. Joe DeSpirito, Tim Nofsker, Brian Schilling, and Grant Wesley, all with 6. Correction, Wesley with 5, the other ones with 6.
It's like Rodney Sollins has had one solid strategy for this race. Qualify up front and stay up front, and that's exactly what he's done so far. As soon as I say that, Seminara jumps to his inside, going for the lead.
And again, this just kind of drives home the surprise of us seeing him have to qualify his way in earlier tonight through the All-Star Open, with what we're seeing out of him here in this All-Star race, boy.
Don't know if he was trying to get a non-existent side draft or what.
I think he got a bump entering the tri-oval. Hung on to it, though. It's door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel, gridlocked. Sullins and Seminara. Seminara with that little push-up on the inside. That's typical here at Talladega.
Which is usually what kills the inside momentum.
Sometimes. Fourth on that outside line, Terry Bombard qualified his way in via the Open, finishing 4th. Also see Brian Rawson back there in the 6th. He's been involved in at least one dust-up tonight, but he started shotgun on the field, and he's about to crack into the top 10 if that outside line can continue to move forward just a little bit.
Surprised there's only 2 lines right now. No one's trying to get a third line going on the far outside. I don't know if they're getting ready for pit stops again or not here, but everyone kind of content to just run 2 lines.
I think we're pretty close to a round of green flag pit stops here. We went back green. I believe it was on lap 16 onto 17. So we'd be looking maybe the next 3 laps that these drivers
5 projected, I was just told.
There you go. And only a handful of these drivers have made a green flag pit stop here tonight. The 5 transferees from the All-Star Open. Not saying that these All-Star race drivers that were already locked in are horrible at making a pit stop, but you know, repetition actually can be a benefit. And if you've made one green flag pit stop here tonight, you know, it might help you in, you know, your braking area and whatnot. These other drivers, little cold turkey. It's been a couple of weeks since they made a green flag pit stop at a superspeedway. Seminara keeps trying on that inside line, but every time they come around to the stripe, that middle line gets the advantage out of the tri-oval, and Sullins has been able to snipe every single lap from Bob. Sullins has led every lap but 2. Seminara's led 1, and Grant Wesley's led 1.
Bob Sullins.
And Rodney's now going to switch to the bottom, which is a good indicator that we're going to have those pit stops coming up here real soon. Have that little bit easier entry onto pit road, being right against that yellow line. You'd have to think Rodney'd have to come to pit road a little bit sooner than everybody else, since his car has been out in front in clean air for the entirety of this run.
Technically, Bob's car has been too on
Yep.
the inside lane. So we should see both of them coming in very soon. Probably, I'm going to say within the next 2 laps.
And two things that we saw during the green flag pit stops in the All-Star Open. One, pit road mistakes. A few drivers getting hit with black flags. Number two, field got really, really spread out. Now that was with 12 drivers in the field. We've got 20 drivers in this lead pack. Be interesting to see if how many we'll have in the lead pack once the pit stop cycle is complete. Expect Brian Rawson, Chuck McClure, Brian Schilling to maybe stay out a lap longer than everybody else. They came down pit road at 1 to green and topped off.
About 2 projected, I'm told, so.
And radios are lighting up. I would not be surprised if one, if not two of those are Sullins and Seminara. Coming around at 15 to go. Not necessarily the money stop. They may have to pit one more time before this conclusion. Look at this. 5 wide. A couple of areas of the track there. Coming on to pit road.
It's like Nofsky got into the grass a little bit, but kept everything together.
Question is, did he make the commitment line? I think he did. And now, did everybody get their cars woed down is going to be the next question. Looks like Donnie Garrett, Denny Carroll, Bob Dixon may have all pit the previous lap from the rear of the field. Brian Rawson has stayed out. Looks like Randy Waugh may have also pit, but he lost Garrett, Carroll, and Dixon. And Brian Rawson will come down pit road all by his lonesome. Here's the race off pit road. Number 1 pit stall for Rodney Sullins pays dividends. He'll lead DeSpirito, Jeffries, and Wesley onto the back straightaway. We'll be keeping an eye here on scoring, making sure that everybody got it woed down, and not everybody did. 77, Donnie Garrett, black flag speeding on pit road. He would have cycled around to around 10th, 11th position, I think. So he'll have to make a pit stop, a pass-through penalty. So far, he's the only one. But I don't think we have yet the updated status of that big group that came down pit road. That should be coming in the next half lap or so. So far, though, don't see anybody with a black flag penalty. And we had, what, 20 cars, I think I said, in the lead pack. Before the pit stops, it looks like we're going to have 11. Little more than half in this lead pack now. Kelly Causey trying to latch on to the tail end of this draft. I believe the 77 has now made his way down pit road. There is Garrett.
Yep, there he is. Tough break.
Brian Schilling to the outside. These guys racing. That's going to bring in. That's going to bring those cars behind him into this mix here. So, see Chuck McClure leading. Oh boy, nearly getting into Grant Wesley right there. These guys racing like that. That's going to allow that second pack to close in.
Second pack's got about 5 drivers in it. Denny Carroll, Terry Bombard, Bob Dixon, Jessica Shelton, and Doug Hewlick. They can stay lined up. To your point, they could make what is right now a 10, borderline 11 car lead pack become about a 15 car lead pack. So right now, we'll be generous and say 13 laps, maybe, that they can go on fuel. They're still 2 to 3 laps short of
Whoa.
the finish.
Oh. Oh wow.
Wow.
That was crazy. But they saved it.
They should have wrecked a couple of times right there. I don't know how they were able to hang on to it, but
Oh yeah, absolutely, I agree. Should have wrecked a couple times, but dang, they held on to it.
Great save by Chuck McClure after the contact between him and Jeffries, and then Bob Seminara squirrely trying to shoot up the middle, makes further contact with the 17. Yeah, that should have been 2 cautions right there.
if they were looking for a place to wreck, they missed a golden opportunity.
That breaks up that outside line, though. They'll have to reform from 6th place on back and try again. Sullen's continuing to show the way. Donnie Garrett and John Godfrey, I believe, are currently about 15 seconds ahead of the leaders. And caution is out. I just saw the yellow lights up there in the entrance to turn 3. Oh, 21 of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
Is that an engine failure, maybe? Could it be a debris caution for an engine failure? Boy, these 5. That caution saved. As a matter of fact, that saved the whole field. Garrett and Godfrey, they're still on the tail end of the lead lap, so all 19 remaining cars, they're all going to be caught back up here into this lead pack. And
So we've got, what, 11 laps to go, maybe?
I think we can make it on fuel now. I think we're in the window. 12 laps, we could go 3 laps past the scheduled distance. See if we can find what brought out the yellow. I'm assuming it was the 21. No visible smoke out of that race car, but definitely it lost power.
Maybe something disconnected. That's possible.
Right about here. Right there.
Yep,
Where
there
the
it
engine
goes.
lets go. It's like engine valve, the diagnosis of the DNF for the 21. Raced his way into the All-Star race through the open, finished 2nd to transfer in. And he will join Mark Paglia and Greg Palmer behind the wall, will not reach the conclusion of this race. Indeed, a debris caution for the engine expiration on the 21 car. And
it's feeding time at the zoo.
Yes, it is. A couple of drivers stay out here, and Brian Rawson and Donnie Garrett, they were both, well, Garrett definitely was in danger of maybe going a lap down if we had continued to trend green. Brian Rawson was by himself as well. Looks like those two are going to elect to come down pit road on the 2nd lap of caution. And how about this? Joe DeSpirito. Well, never mind. I thought he came out with the race lead, but looks like Rodney Sullins actually did win the battle. Or did he? I mean, scoring showing the 24 in 3rd, which meant he got to the start-finish line off pit road ahead of Rodney. Let's go back and look. This could be a very important pit stop in terms of who is the leader here on this shootout. Oh. Now we know why Joe bypassed him. So from what I remember, first gear has a lot of wheel spin. And when you're trying to get that launch to be the first one to the line there in the number 1 pit stall, this happens. So Rodney did indeed get to the pit road line ahead of Joe DeSpirito, so he is going to eventually be the leader, but in trying to gather the thing up from spinning is why DeSpirito bypassed him before they got to the start-finish line. Well, next week, folks, got a full week on the Flatout Racing Network.
Do we now?
Monday night, we're going to be bringing you coverage of the first race of Season 65, the Bare Bones Racing Series. Schedule was actually dropped this afternoon. Season opener going to be taking place at Kansas. Myself and Sean Prime bringing you coverage of the entire season, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday night is the Esports Oval League Grind Cup Series, as they're going to be going Superspeedway racing themselves. It's the third race of the Dash for Cash at Talladega Superspeedway. And then Thursday night, some more Superspeedway racing as we kick off the 65th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. Believe the first race is going to be at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. That's where everything was pretty much decided in Season 64, the regular season finale, the elimination races, the eventual champion was crowned there at the conclusion of the season. Now the roles will be reversed. All the pressure will be at Talladega Superspeedway, and a little bit of a precursor here with the pressure on now, coming to a restart with less than 10 to go in tonight's All-Star race. And how about the call by Brian Rawson to stay out? Same for Donnie Garrett. There's no way they can make it on fuel. So my thought is they're hoping for a yellow to come out somewhere around lap 43, 44, and maybe save enough fuel under pacing to win the race under yellow. Unorthodox strategy, but hey, it's an all-star race. Why not try it?
Who do you got?
Huh?
I said, who do you got?
Who do I got?
Has your predictions changed now that we're...
No, it is not.
We're not Jerry Lawler in the Royal Rumble here.
He's my pick. He was my pick the whole time.
No, here comes my pick right now. The Big Show. Brian Lawson. Wow, who am I, Elmer Fudd?
Brian Lawson. 7 to
involved
go.
In a couple accidents, and he's up in the lead now. Question is, does he have the speed and the strength of that car?
Well, I don't think he's got the fuel. If this thing goes green to the end, I think the 6 and the 77 are in trouble. Got to think a third lane's going to form here now as well. There we go. Brian Schilling, Jeremy Jeffries, Tim Nofsker. Ooh, they weren't quite organized there. Now they are. Donnie Garrett and Joe DeSpirito stuck in the middle. Here comes Schilling, high, wide, and handsome around the outside. Not going to get the lead. He may be alongside of Sullins for second when they exit out of turn 4. Rawson with the lead. Schilling, I think, led that lap. Indeed, he did. First lap led of the night for the 4 car, former champion of the series on Thursday nights. Brian Rawson pushing up there off of 2.
Rawson and Jeffries almost got together. And now Rawson, is he out of fuel? He's on the apron.
I think he's dropping back. He pulled low to avoid hitting the 1. I think it took him down to the apron. He just stayed down there to avoid pulling up in front of the 38. But now Schilling out in front. Jeffries in second. You mentioned it, Kyle, trying to go for the week sweep. The Speedway All-Star Race and the Super Speedway All-Star Race.
You always know where to find them.
Nofsker, who won the Tally Challenge Championship back in season 63. Third in line with Kelly Causey and Chuck McClure. I think we can say point of no return in this race would be coming around to lap 45. If we got a caution lap 44, we may be able to get a 1-lap shootout. Most drivers committed to that middle line right now. Sullins still on that inside line, back around the 8th, 9th position. We'll see if any drivers will duck down to the bottom here as we approach the line for 4 laps to go. comes Kelly Causey to the bottom. McClure
Peeking,
goes
peeking.
down. Woo.
Peeking. I don't know. That middle lane still has numbers.
Oh, McClure and I believe Wesley made a little bit of contact.
McClure
Chuck
forcing
McClure
his way
has
back
not-
in line.
One thing I've noticed, Chuck McClure has not been content. He was making a lot of moves before that caution came out, where the when the 21 blew up. When those top 11 cars had broken away after the pit stops, it was Chuck McClure that was making most of the moves there.
Denny Carroll, our All-Star Open winner, has now moved to the bottom in front of Rodney Sullins. 3 to go. I believe this would be the point of no return. Next flag would end the race. Donnie Garrett further back trying a third line. Around the 8th position. Top 7 single file down the back straightaway. Who's going to step out of line? Here comes Causey, Wesley, Bombard. Causey's going to get up alongside of Nofsker for third. They're going to need more help down there on the bottom. There's only a trio of them right now. Oh,
Whoa,
Jeremy!
Oh, wow, that was close.
Big
oh boy,
save for
they're gonna get
4!
together. Oh, this ain't gonna work, guys.
There they
Nope,
go!
goes-
Big wreck. Only 3 drivers will get away. Oh my gosh!
Oh, we just had a home run.
Holy cow! Who was that? Is that Seminara up in the stratosphere?
No, that was Jess.
Jess
think that
as
was-
well.
I don't think that was a home run. I think that was more of a grand slam.
I think it was. I just had to mention someone clearing the fence tonight, didn't I?
And they were coming to the white flag, too, this time. Yellow and white flag.
Brian Schilling, Jeremy Jeffries, Tim Nofsker. The last drivers really remaining here for this victory. Can Jeremy make a move? If he does, does Tim go with him? Tim gonna look up high, gonna look low for second. Jeremy, no peak. Looks like he's not gonna have enough momentum to even try for a shot here. Brian Schilling comes back to the line to take the white and the caution. And Schilling, provided he makes it around under power here for one more circuit, is going to be taking home the All-Star race here for 2025.
This reminds me of the finish of the 2001 EA Sports 500. Everybody wrecked on the last lap. It was a 3-car battle for the win after that between Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, and Jeff Burton.
What was the, was it 2012 where they were 4 wide, several rows deep, and it was, what, Kenseth, Gordon, and
Kyle Busch. I think
Kyle
it was.
Busch, that's right.
Yeah.
They were the only 3 that made it back. Well, we will be going back and definitely looking at the replay there. That might have been the highest I've seen a car get here at Talladega. Who was it Michael that said they could go 4 wide here?
Yes, I believe so.
Michael, you tempted them.
And it's the All-Star race. They had to.
I mean, we're at
Did
the
they,
point
though?
there where it's never lift, right?
Correct.
Well, Brian Schilling, who had an incredible season in that final year for the Aero 88 cars on Thursday nights, scored top 5s in every single one of the regular season races, won the regular season championship. Unfortunately, was not able to advance to the Final 4 to compete for another championship, but could be some good momentum for him heading into season 65 for the Tally Challenge. As he'll cross the line, Brian Schilling is the winner of the 2025 RTG Superspeedway All-Star Race. Jeremy Jeffries, 1 spot shy of the All-Star Race sweep for 2025, comes home second. And Tim Nofsker will bring it home on the podium. Let's go back. Let's take a look at the replay of what brought out the race-ending yellows. Started with the 17 of Chuck McClure, the 77 of Donnie Garrett. I believe Kelly Causey was in the vicinity as well. Jeremy gets out of shape. Everybody stacks up, gets 4 wide, banging doors. Gracious. I think this would have broken your flip counter, Kyle.
Yeah,
I think just about every driver in that wreck was up and over at some point.
that thing would have been smoking like a fuel mileage calculator trying to figure out everybody that flipped.
Gracious. That might have an RTG record for most flips in a wreck. .39 of Josh Metallic also got up in the catch fence. Right there. And then just flings Jess, who then in turn flings Seminara.
We compared that to a couple of different finishes. The races in 2001 and 2012, there was only one car that flipped there, so.
That is true.
It was Bobby Labonte in 2001, Tony Stewart in 2012. Ironically enough, they were teammates in that 2001 race. But man, look at Seminara just...
He's up at the height of the Sunoco sign.
Yeah.
Goodness. Let's see how wide a shot the spectator cam gives us here. Give you a scope of everything that went down with that wreck. Just look at all the cars tumbling here. I mean, that is a mosh pit.
Mosh pit or a junkyard, whatever you want to say there, but that's what it...
Who was that car that I saw? Was that might have been Brian Rawson, who somehow was able to make it on fuel. Yeah, he was way back behind the field here. He crossed the line on the previous lap in 19th. He came around to take the checkers in 8th. This is what he saw. That's how to get a top 10.
He sees death in front of him. That's what he sees.
Goodness gracious.
Sometimes you gotta look death in the eyes in order to have a good time.
Is that Rodney Sullins that went by him there? The 38?
I believe it was, yeah.
How badly did Rodney get involved in this wreck? Oh, we should get some pretty good shots here from the 38 car. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Doing here, a bonk there, and somehow that car still crossed the line to finish 7th after leading a race-high 31 laps tonight.
Here in a few minutes, we're going to talk to our top 3 finishers, or more like more like our only 3 survivors.
The survivors, yeah, exactly. John Godfrey going to bring it home in 4th. Bob Dixon 5th. Terry Bombard was the highest finishing of the transfer drivers from the All-Star Open in 6th. Rodney, who we were just on board with there, in 7th. Brian Rawson, who we were on board prior to that, in 8th. Donnie Garrett will finish in 9th, and Bobby Farrell in the 10th position. 13 drivers made it to the start-finish line under power. I believe Kelly Causey finished on pit road. And then DeSpirito on down to Seminara could not make it back to the start-finish line, involved in that wreck. Randy Wall with a mechanical failure. Mark Paglia out due to a wreck. And Greg Palmer retired early after being involved in an early wreck as well. Those drivers did not reach the conclusion of this all-star race. But again, while the incentive is maybe a little bit higher since there's no points on the line, the disappointment has to be less as well if you didn't win this thing, because you weren't fighting for a championship, you weren't fighting for a playoff spot, there were no points up for grabs. It will be an entirely different story when we take the green flag to start the new season next Thursday night.
Certainly, everybody in this race wanted to win. All-star race. You think of an all-star, it's like saying you're the best of the best right there, and everybody would love to have that kind of title. Plus, this being the last race for the Aero 88 mod for this series, there's probably a little bit of pride there as well.
Absolutely. Well, for Brian Schilling, he's now locked into the 2026 Superspeedway All-Star Race with this victory, and we'll be talking with him in Victory Lane in just a moment. Let's see if we can get a hold first of the other drivers that bring it home on the podium, getting through that massive wreck to end this race. Let's see if we can dial up. The driver brings it home P3, Tim Nofsker.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Tim, guys up here in the FRM booth, got a copy?
Yes, sir, guys.
Wow, wild finish to this all-star race, massive pile-up, and as Kyle aptly said, you were one of the 3 survivors there in the closing stages, bringing it home on the podium. Must have made things difficult, though, having such a small group of you to be able to make a move for this victory, but, with this final season here, with the Aero 88 cars, how badly did you want to try and make something happen to get around Jeremy Bryan, get this victory here in this all-star race?
Well, I wanted to do something. I wasn't sure what was going to manifest in front of me, but I was making plans. I just trying to figure out. I knew the one would pull out at some point. I actually am the one that kind of screwed that up. I got him loose in the trial, and that kind of ended any last lap heroics. But I was glad to see Brian win. He ran a good race. Jeremy ran a great race. I hated to get him loose in the trial like that. That kind of messed everything up. But it was a hell of a race.
Final time that we'll see the Aero 88 cars on a Thursday night. They move over to Wednesday night. Here this evening, it kind of looked like in a couple of cases in the open race, here in the All-Star race as well, like you drivers were maybe a little bit more aggressive with these Aero 88 cars. Is that fair to say than what we usually see when you guys are points racing? Was that a case of this being a non-points event that just amped up the ante a little bit for drivers? Or do you think with this kind of being the swan song for this mod, for Superspeedway racing regularly, people were trying to test the limits and see what these cars could really do?
Well, anytime you have no points races and they're just for fun, you see guys probably do things they wouldn't normally do. Just kind of throw something at the wall, see what sticks. But the aggression was high, but not out of control. The arrows were good for a while on Thursday, but we're excited to move on to a new mod. So, I thought everybody ran a real good race. The 3 times pit stops kind of threw a wrench in everything, but I thought it was a great race.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on getting 3rd place here tonight in this all-star race. Not the victory you were looking for, but hey, we were talking about momentum. A good finish here in this all-star race could set drivers up for some good momentum when season 65 kicks off next week with that new Xfinity mod. So hopefully we see that translate to fruition. Tim, before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
As always, thanks to you guys for covering the race. The broadcasts are fantastic, and I know the guys really enjoy them. So thanks to you guys. Thanks to Bones and Prime, Jeremy, Josh, Rodney, all those guys who keep us going in the right direction. It was just a great night altogether, and I'm pretty pleased.
Tim Nofsker brings home 3rd place here tonight in the 2025 Superspeedway All-Star Race at Talladega. Congratulations on the great run, and best of luck in the start of the new season next week.
All right, thank you.
User
Good
was
luck.
moved out of your channel.
Let's see if we can get our 2nd place finisher here tonight.
User
Jeremy
was moved
Jeffries.
to your channel.
Jeremy, the guys up here in the FRN booth. You got a copy?
I do. Luke
Man,
again.
one position away from getting the sweep here this week. You brought it home, victory lane in the Speedway All-Star Race. You're right there on the back bumper of the 4. Unfortunately, there's only 3 of you in that lead pack. We saw Tim kind of shade up there to the top side. Did you think about maybe going up there, seeing if Tim would go with you, try and make this a photo finish, or do you think with just so few cars there wasn't going to be enough energy?
Well, I know Brian and Tim are teammates, so I figured he was trying to get me to shade up so he could hang me out. So I was just committed to staying to Brian. I told him after the race I wasn't trying to be greedy and take them both. It was good to see somebody else win.
Crazy race. We saw a little bit of everything here tonight, and we saw a little bit more amped up aggression, I think, than what we're normally used to seeing on a Thursday night. Granted, it's a non-points event, and really only a big payout to the winner getting locked into next year's All-Star race. Did you feel a different sense of energy here out of these drivers here tonight?
I feel like it doesn't matter if we're in an all-star race or a regular race. These guys are going for it, and it's just a lot of fun to be out here with them, no matter what the circumstance. And there's always a ton of energy. I think there might have been maybe a little more aggressiveness than a typical race, but that's to be expected in these kind of events.
Absolutely. We talked just moments ago with Tim. He talked about the excitement of that Xfinity mod NXS 20 that you guys are going to be starting out with next Thursday night for the 65th season of the Talladega Challenge Series. You know, you've had some opportunities to race in that mod as well. And I was talking about, it kind of seems like just a little bit, the hitboxes between the Aero 88 cars and the NXS 20 cars kind of similar. So, you know, what are we thinking here with what we saw out of the race here tonight, what we've seen during the course of these last couple of seasons? How easy, how smooth do you think that transition is going to be starting next Thursday night?
I think with any car, there's a little bit of a learning curve. I think the NXSs, they just feel like they're a little bit bigger than the Aeros. I'm sure the hitboxes are the same, but they just got a little different look, and maybe, you know, just the optic of the car, the way it looks is just going to be slightly different. So I think that's something that the guys are going to have to learn. We've raced them on Tuesday before when we had that series, the Speed Freak series. So I know a little bit about what to expect, and there's some other guys that do too. So I think we're going to be at a little bit of advantage the first couple races, but everybody will catch on pretty quickly. It's Superspeedway racing, it's Talladega. There's, you know, once you got it, you got it.
Well, Jeremy, congratulations on the second place performance here tonight. Some pretty good numbers here in these All-Star races. P1 Monday night, P2 here tonight. Congratulations on the great performance, surviving that massive big one that ended tonight's race. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
I guess I got to thank Brian and Tim. When I got kind of squirted out there in the trial, Tim gave me a little bump, sent me sideways. Brian went down to help me keep up my speed, and Tim checked up a little bit to make sure I got back in line. So I got to thank those two guys, and of course you all for broadcasting, and Sean and Prime for keeping the lights on here, and all the other admins, the racers, everybody. It just makes this so much fun every year, every season, every day. And congrats to Brian Schilling on his win.
Jeremy Jeffries brings it home second place here tonight in Superspeedway All-Star Race. Congratulations on the great run. Hopefully this gives you some good momentum at the start of the new season next week.
I sure hope so. Thank you.
Let's see if we can now go down to victory lane and dial up tonight's All-Star Race winner, Brian Schilling. Brian, the guys up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got us?
Yeah, what's going on?
Man, I'll tell you what. You kind of looked like the Brian Schilling back when we ran the trucks on Thursday nights. Always saw you as an advocate for that third lane. Here tonight, same story, and it got you to the front. You were able to keep them all at bay. We were kind of wondering, especially since we knew that it was 3X, the fuel was going to be a little bit more of a concern. We got that out of the way when we got into the window. We knew that third line was going to come into play at some point. Drivers are going to feel now is go time. You timed it to perfection, but was that the plan all along?
No. It just ended up, thankfully, I was on the outside for the restart there. I knew Jeremy would love to go on the high side, and I knew Tim was back there behind Jeremy. So I knew at least if I had a couple good pushers behind me that I was going to go for it. You know, at that point, what do you have to lose?
had yourself positioned for the race win. More importantly, had yourself positioned ahead of that massive big one that ended up finishing this race out. Brian, we ended up talking just moments ago with Jeremy, and we alluded to this earlier on tonight as well. Back during season 62, you guys ran the NXS 20 mod in the Speed Freaks series on Tuesday nights. You won the championship in that series. So with the combination of having a championship with the mod that will be starting out season 65 of the Tally Challenge with, plus the win here in the All-Star race, that momentum carried into the new season, what's that got to do for the confidence level?
Well, I mean, yeah, it keeps me positive, but I mean, like always, these guys, they adapt quickly. They, the competition's so tough. I mean, even in an all-star race, I feel so lucky to be able to win.
Of course, we know that we're probably going to see you in victory lane before 2026, but with getting this All-Star race win here tonight, it locks you into next year's All-Star race as well. Does that enter into the mind when you're in a race like this, or is that kind of an afterthought where your tunnel vision, just making sure you do all the right steps to make sure that the nose of your car is the first one back to the stripe?
No, I mean, it definitely comes into play. I mean, there's been, you never know if you're ever going to win again. I've gone through droughts where I haven't, won in months, or even a year or so. So it having that in my back pocket's always good. I don't have to worry for the next 2 all-star races.
Well, Brian, congratulations on the job well done, timing the move, having the position at the right time, keeping them in the rearview mirror, and bringing it home with the checkered flag here tonight in the All-Star race. We'll let you get back to your celebrating in a moment, but we'll now turn the microphone over to you for victory lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Well, as always, thank you to the owners, David Cannon, Sean Prime. Their endless work of making this, happen every week. Thank you to Josh, Tim, Rodney. Every Thursday, always they do such a good job trying to coordinate, 40 people trying to get into these races, if not more. The sponsors, Ultimate Garage Floors, the Dixon Brothers, Rodney Solon's Paints, Mark Paglia. Thank you. And thank you to everybody coming out. Congrats to all the drivers that have won championships this year. And I will say this one again. This one's for Wiley and Robbie. I still, think about those guys all the time. I miss them. So.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, congratulations on the job well done here tonight. Hopefully you see this springboard you with some good momentum to start out season 65 of the Talladega Challenge Series. Go enjoy this win.
Thank you.
User was moved out of your
Brian
channel.
Schilling, your winner here tonight. His criteria to make the All-Star race, he had 6 victories in the last 3 seasons. We documented his Speed Freaks championship in season 62. And he was also the bracket champion for the Talladega Challenge Series this most recent 64th season. So, pretty likely that if he hadn't won this All-Star race, we would be talking about him locked into the 2026 All-Star race. But like he said, you never know when your next win is your last. And not only is he locked in for 2026, but also for 2027. So a big load off of his mind. And now for the next 2-3 seasons, he can go out there, be aggressive, try and rack up as many wins as possible, and make his resume look just as impressive when we eventually get to next year's All-Star race.
And he also was probably the most consistent driver in the Tally Challenge this past season. We talked about it several times, like that top 5 streak that he had heading into the playoffs as well. So.
Yeah, it's always nice to look forward to seeing him up near the front at the end because he knows how to put himself in that position and to save fuel to get himself there, too.
Absolutely. Well, folks, we appreciate tuning in to our coverage of the All-Star races this week. Monday night with the Speedway All-Star race. Tonight with the Superspeedway All-Star Race, as Brian Schilling is your winner for the year 2025. Again, we documented it. Next week, we kick off on Monday night the 65th season of the Barebone Racing Series. Thursday night, the 65th season of the Talladega Challenge Series. New mod, Xfinity cars. You're not going to want to miss it. Hope you guys will join us for all of our future events coming up here next week. We'll be here on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday night next week. All races going to be going green at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But for Kyle Matthews, for Michael Norman, for myself, Seth Cole, thank you all for tuning to our coverage here tonight. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening, and we'll see you guys next week as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support.